Why is my credit sometime looks like score is good, but they're not giving me a loan? Is it possible that a person could have everything paid as agreed, never been late, but score is too low? Is it possible?
Yeah,
You don't have
You don't have what?
You're not using whatever.
You're not using it? I think the biggest factor that people don't know is not the question of usage. Yes, the usage also gives about 15% comes on that. The biggest factor is called DTI, that to income ratio. So what happened is when you filed the application, you've been very honest, you said, my earning, I'm making $2,000 a month. And you have obligation that if, when you look at your credit cards, if you, based on your income, your obligation, your ratio is percentage-wise too high. So you paid everybody as a clock. You might have some other income or some insignificant other that helps you repay those loans. But the fact that the Bureau doesn't know that if you base on your income, your score is very low. Some people come to us, there's nothing wrong with their credit. Everything's perfect. But the score is low. So I just want you to understand, sometimes when we look through it, we also not only see the credit bureau, we go item by item to see if the credit bureau for some reason written into something that is, you don't see it on the credit bureau. And when you apply to somebody for loan, they're going to have that information. So it's good for you to come in and let us guide you and say, here, what you need to do. We'll teach you how to change this so your score goes up. And I know you're leaving, and I want to touch some other very important aspect. Another major factor that can reduce your score is how much money you owe. Anybody knows how much you need to owe in order not to affect your credit score? Let me tell you, it goes based on your limit. So if you open a credit card and they give you a $1,000 limit, and you use it 70–80% of that limit, your score is going to be down. In order not to affect your score, you need to use no more than 20% of your limit. So if you use 20%, it does not affect your score, it doesn't be negative. So 20% is the ideal. It could be higher, but 20% is ideal. So if you need to borrow more than 20%, my suggestion before you go and spend money, call the lender and say, could you please increase my limit?
Okay.
So you could increase your limit. We often have a lot of clients that have a lot of obligation. I thought I turned it off. A lot of financial obligations. And today, the credit card that you guys have, the consumer has, you know, average interest rate that you pay on the credit card today is like 25 to 30%. So what we recommend when a lot of people get into that, they borrow money, they have a lot of those financial obligations, and what we help our customer, we call it consolidation loan. We take all your credit cards that you owe, even your score is down, that you owe to lenders, credit cards, that you pay average 25%. We combine them, consolidate them together, get one loan, that we get maybe 5–6% interest rate, and we pay them off, so your score goes up, and every time you make a payment, majority of payment will go towards the principal. Not like when you have this high interest rate and you have a minimum payment, it goes right to the interest. You keep paying it, but the principal is not being reduced. It's on the same level. So it's just like a sentence for life. It's not moving out. So you need to look at that and say, okay, if I continue paying like this, I'll pay all my life, never paid off. If I increase $10 more than minimum, that means how many years I have to pay it off. So it probably still gonna be astronomical. So my suggestion is get companies like ours come in and say, can you consolidate, get them together, so A, I'll pay them off completely, and get a lower interest rate, so I'll make less payment, and majority of my payment will go towards the principal, not to the bank, just to satisfy them. And the key there, that you discipline yourself not to go back and start charging the empty cards. But if you do that, you help yourself and you get yourself in a good position. Because I see a lot of people continue making payments. Well, minimum said 25, but I'll add another 20. Well, you know, it's okay, 20 bucks extra, but it's not gonna save you. If you owe 4 or 5 grand, you're still looking about 15, 20 years. It's just, the interest rate way too high. You need to consolidate. So my suggestion would be that you'll have our cards, and we're gonna give you, if you want to schedule an appointment with our office, the lady behind us, Elena, she can schedule an appointment for you. You could come in, it's free, and we could go through it and help you out. I know she's leaving, so I want to ask her if we have any questions additional what I said.
I was curious about if you knew anything about, I was looking online and I read a article that said that Obama created a thing called the Credit Card Act of 2009 that stated if an individual that had either no credit or bad credit had a high interest rate because of that, that the credit card companies can't stick them to that high interest rate credit card, that they have to reevaluate the client's interest rate according to their credit. So if they raise their credit, then they would have to, that would have to be incorporated into their interest rate. Do you know anything about that? Or
If you're referring to the, what they call Fair Act that protects consumer against discrimination, that act does exist. But you see, most of the companies, when you apply for loan, they don't know the color of your skin, they don't know what religion you are. They only judge based on the employment and your credit history. Two factors which becomes the most important to them is what income you're making, how stable the income, and also your credit history. What is your, how good you are of repayment of your financial obligation. The act you're referring to, that no finance institution can discriminate if they would find out your origin or your color of your skin, they cannot discriminate. That came in effect in 2009 when that act was implemented. But the score itself is still there, so you need to figure out how to improve it.
So that's what I'm saying. So this, what I'm seeing is that if you increased your credit score, because I increased it eventually, but they were still charging me the high interest rate from when my credit score was really low. And they wouldn't reevaluate my credit score. But the Credit Card Act of 2009 on the internet looked like it said that legally that they're supposed to reevaluate your credit score. And if it's lower,
So you refer to, if I'm a Bank of America and I loan you money, let's say 10,000, and in the time when you apply for the loan, your credit was low, and I give you 20% interest rate, and then a year later your score went way up, and you wanted to get, you want to, the bank would reevaluate that. They do that on car loans. They do, some banks do. On the personal note, if it's a line of credit, they could do it. If it's a loan itself, so it's fixed for a certain term, they cannot change it.
no, with the credit card, it was open, it was not a fixed.
Credit card is different. Credit card, they do that. Credit, for example, they charge you 22, and when they see that your score improved, and they would reevaluate that automatically and issue a discount on rate.
Yeah, they keep telling me they can't do that. Yeah,
You
so
need to see me, I'll take care of it.
okay.
There's no, they have to do it. You know how, if they refuse to do it, you know what I would tell them?
Yeah.
I will do, if it's a credit card, I will do a balance transfer to another lender, I pay them completely off, and I'll get you 0 interest.
That was the plan, that was the next plan.
Yeah, we do that in our office. If we see that we're fighting, I say, the easiest thing to do, let me go ahead and hit somebody else what they call balance transfer. And you score even if it's 660, 680, and then you have a good stable, you had those credit cards for some time, and you've never been late, no problem. We'll do a balance transfer. And you dump them like a bed habit. It will be no problem. It's a good question. It's a good question. Do you have any other questions? You've been quiet.
No, I kind of know a lot.
Do you?
Already, yeah.
Did you work for a bank?
No, but I've been trying to prepare my credit for a while now.
And how did you do it?
Up and down.
I would show you, we have in our system library of letters of how we fight each item. They're written, it's a huge library. It's very difficult for you yourself to write because we have a company that's specialized. They wrote those letters. What do you do when you have 3 days late? What do you do if you have a collection? And what if you have a collection so many days, so many years? So this library of objection, how to overcome it, it's a lot easier for you to design it from scratch. Years ago, I tried to, when I opened my credit for life company, I didn't have that system. So I was, every time I would pull a bureau for a consumer, I would design the letter of how to fight each problem.